So I'm very excited about these next guests. I'm introducing Heidi Fang and Adam Hill, MMA experts and Raiders reporters for the Las Vegas Review Journal. A little blast in the past from my friend Gilbert here. How are you guys doing today?
I'm really great, man. Thank you so much for having us. Can't speak for Adam though. Adam, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good. I can't match your energy. Heidi always upbeat in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but for you guys, no problem. Get up and do this.
Hey, Adam, it's the
Giant
same
cup
thing.
of coffee secret.
Hey, I just had some coffee right now. I needed to wake up too, but I'm kind of like Adam. Fernando is very energetic, so
I'm all about that energy.
I'll try to match it.
All right, let me try something else then, Adam, because I feel like we are former colleagues. I know you guys very well, so I wanted to do like a special intro. I wrote down a couple nice things. I know you like nice things, Adam. Is that okay to kind of share?
I don't like nice things, as you know. So you're already striking out. Let's go.
Okay, so that's why I'm gonna let Fernando say nice things about you. You know, a stranger is even better, right? Nice things from a stranger.
Oh yeah, that's comfortable.
Okay, so I'll start with Heidi, and I'll say I wrote down a lot of nice things for her, so hopefully she's okay with this. But for Heidi, okay, I'm ready. Heidi, I have a ton of respect for you for your work ethic. I'll never forget the Raiders 2018 season when you covered the entire season. I think you were pregnant with Tristan.
Yeah.
And you went to road games. You even covered MMA events.
Yeah.
I think you were shooting pictures, editing videos. You were on camera, writing stories. And I never heard you complain. And I complain all the time to Fernando. All the time. But I remember Mexico City.
Oh, yeah.
You still didn't complain. It was like the highest altitude. I think you might have been 7 months pregnant with Tristan. Yeah. You were on the field taking pictures. Again, I really admire your work ethic. I don't know how you did it. So I got to ask you, what is your secret to just working hard?
No, all honesty, and it's going to get deep right now because a lot of people don't know all of this about me. My grandmother went through a really tough life and a really hard struggle, and so did my parents. And they all came from like really blue collar grassroots. You know, my father worked in fields. My grandmother was interned in Manzano during World War II, and she was pregnant and had a baby in there. So when I was pregnant and I was thinking my feet hurt, I was like, well, at least I'm not sleeping on a bale of hay with a hay pillow with wood slats that are in the middle of Death Valley in June. You know, and those are things that she went through her struggles, or, you know, at least my family is going to have more than 900 square feet of space to live in. So when I started out on my whole journey, like all of those things were motivating factors for me to be able to provide and have nice things. And, you know, unfortunately, my family, you know, they weren't highly educated. So for me, it was a big thing to get to college and to go and take that path on and, you know, to try to improve things for my life, and that's why I work so hard and why you don't hear me complain.
Wait, hold on. Can we start over? I can't follow that. I need to go first.
That was a great story. I was surprised I heard that. I was like, that was a great response, Heidi.
That was awesome.
Just, you know, it's just the roots where you come from, you know, and then trying to look up for bigger things and trying to really carve a path for yourself. And those are things my family didn't have the opportunity to do. And it makes me proud to be able to stand on my own 2 feet and try to, you know, forge a path for us.
That is honestly awesome. And that's what we're trying to build here with Compas. We talk about our stories. We talk about how we got started in our careers and everything. So now I'm going to turn my attention to Adam.
Please don't.
All right, Adam. I know you've never been pregnant or anything, but but I know, and I've heard very good things that you work just as hard as Heidi. You've covered over 100 beats for the Las Vegas Review Journal, and I hear you filed a story from every Starbucks in Las Vegas, which is a huge accomplishment. I've only been twice, but I know that there's a lot of Starbucks out there, so that's pretty cool. And then I heard that you're president of the Tyrod Taylor fan club. Adam, I gotta know, what's your fascination with Tyrod, and obviously a little bit more about all the Starbucks and the filing of stories.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not even going to try to compete with Heidi on this. So I'll just say, like, yes, I do like to, I like to be out and about. Like, I can't work from home, although I guess I had to learn to over the last year, which was kind of something that we all had to do. But I've never been able to. Like, I just want to play with the dogs or like throw on TV or like, you know, something. I can't work from home. So I just developed this habit of, you know, being out and about and like being out in the field and working working at different Starbucks. I know all the ones that are 24 hours. I know where there's going to be seats at what time. Like, I should write a book about the Starbucks of Las Vegas and where to write at. That should be my next project. But as Gilbert and you just alluded to, and Gilbert must have told you, like, I can't stop covering things. So if there's something to be written about, I want to write about it, and that's my thing. As far as Tyrod, I grew up maybe the most obsessed Buffalo Bills fan that you're ever going to meet in your life. I could not get enough of that team. I loved everything about them. A lot of my family is from Orchard Park, right where the Bills are. You used to walk to the games from all my family's house and everything, so that was always cool. And for whatever reason, when Tyrod Taylor got there, like, he's the greatest dude ever. Just such a good guy, quiet, humble. Took the Bills to the playoffs for the first time ever. In my life since I was a kid watching Super Bowls, and it was a very cool experience. And I've talked about this a couple of times. I don't really like to because it's very uncomfortable. But I went to a bunch of games, his time there, and just heard the abuse that he took from the crowd, the racial epithets that were flying his way. And it sucked, and it turned me off. Like, I had to stop being a fan anyway because I started covering the NFL, but it kind of also coincided with the abuse that he took and what he went through. It took them to the first playoff appearance in 20 years. Like, what are you doing anyway? But come on, like, he did not deserve that, and it just sucked to have to go through that, and it sucked to see that people are like that. It just you already know, but in this time, in this day, in the freaking 2020, we're really going to act like that? Like, it was disgusting. So I went through that, and so I cheer for him wherever he goes, and it sucked. I mean, he got a concussion in Cleveland, lost his starting job to Baker Mayfield, and then he gets stabbed in the rib, in the lung, with the Chargers. So it's been quite a path for him. So,
yeah, no,
I still have supported his career
100%, and it's interesting because Gilbert and I really, I mean, his last year we didn't really talk to him all that much because he was the backup quarterback, but he would talk to you, and you could go up to him, "Hey, Tyrod, how you doing?" And then he'd start talking to you, and you'd strike up conversation. Then this year he's the starter, and we really got to know a little bit more about him, and he was a very interesting human being, honestly, and the more you talk to him, the more you feel like he's that veteran. He might not be the starting quarterback, but he was still that veteran leader. Anthony Lynn, Tom Telesco, Justin Herbert, everybody raved about how professional he was, even after Justin took the starting job. So honestly, I tip my hat off to him, and I'm sure Gilbert does as well.
I'll share a story from Adam and the support with Tyrod Taylor. When Tyrod Taylor signed with the Chargers, I think it was 2019, he was the backup to Phillip Rivers. But that was a very bad year for Phillip Rivers. So anytime Rivers threw an interception, I would get a text from Adam saying, "Where is number 5? Put in number 5 already." And he knows I'm working, but I'm going to check my phone eventually. And he likes to make me laugh at that. And I tell him, "Hey, I see him right there. He's warming up, but he's not coming in yet, coach."
Well, the bad part is that I was also working, but I would know every time Phillip Rivers threw an interception, wouldn't I? I was on it. So yeah, I mean, it's just something that's going to, now he's with the Texans, and we'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson there. The crazy stories going on there too. So maybe he gets another chance. I would like to see him get another chance. It's just been kind of a brutal road for him since leading the Bills to the playoffs.
It's been a lot of stories with Tyrod Taylor, but Heidi, it's not just football, which I know you're like Adam, you cover everything as well. So I wanted to kind of get you guys back to some UFC. I called you guys experts. You guys are my go-to source for UFC, MMA, all that, Bellator, whatever they have now. I learned that from you too. There's other things besides UFC. So I always say MMA, so forgive me on saying UFC. But Heidi, I'll start with you for UFC 261 talk. There's a big match there with especially with the main event, Usman against Jorge Masvidal. And I gotta admit, Heidi, I'm a little surprised that they rescheduled this main event because Masvidal did not look good. I know he was on short notice for the first fight, Fight Island, which I'm a little disappointed. It's not really a Fight Island. It was like inside, so whatever. But I was really hyped about that fight. But to reschedule it, he got dominated. I'm gonna say Masvidal did not look good at all. I know it was again on short notice, but Usman's on a different level. He is a nightmare, as they call him. So for you, Heidi, I ask you, are you a little surprised they rescheduled this rematch? And also, do you think Masvidal with a full training camp has a legit shot to beat him?
I think it's going to be a rinse, wash, repeat kind of fight for Usman. I don't think that the longer training camp is going to help Masvidal in any sort of way, and that's just because he's a natural striker. He's good at grappling, he's decent at wrestling, but he is not on the same level as Usman. When you look at the caliber athlete that he is when it comes to the wrestling game, he has found ways to just make nights miserable for his opponents that he faces, and I think that he's going to be really dominant in the division for quite some time. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be any different for Masvidal than it was the first outing. No.
So you're not surprised if they reschedule it? Maybe it's just kind of a major draw fight. Why do you think they reschedule it so soon, especially how dominant he was for Usman?
I think maybe they're having a problem finding opponents for Usman. A lot of people probably don't want to face him, and Masvidal's always game, and it's a decent paycheck. You go up, find him for a belt. You're not going to be slouching when it comes to the payout on the fight purse. So it's one of those things that, for Masvidal, I'm pretty sure he wants to get that one back, and I think he thinks, with the full training camp, maybe I have a different plan for it. Maybe he saw a particular tendency that he thinks he can get to with Usman, like he did in the Askren fight. He saw the tendency. They planned for it. They had a great answer for how to come at Ben Askren, right? So that's something that I think that maybe his team saw, maybe they're planning, maybe they have some sort of strategy in mind that they go, okay, this is a way we can beat him. But overall, I don't think it's a good fight for Masvidal, and I just see the same result. I don't see any other result happening with this one.
Heidi, that's why I have you on the show, because we are former coworkers. We have chemistry. So you're kind of taking me to my next question on transition. The flying knee. That's where Jorge Masvidal became a star with the flying knee, whatever it was, 10 seconds, real quick. But Jorge became a star because the whole BMF talk. And he kind of blew up. And I got really excited when he became, when he got into the fight against Usman and Fight Island, whatever that was again. Short notice, because he was a superstar at the time. He just beat Nate Diaz. He just blew up. But now, Adam, I ask you, he started tweeting a lot. He starts having Goya beans, and there's a lot of things that kind of turned me off about Jorge Masvidal and the former president. I'll just leave it at that with Jorge. But for me, I jumped off the bandwagon. I'm not really a fan anymore of Jorge. I think he's a good fighter, but with the whole tweet, it kind of threw me off. So I ask you, Adam, is he still a major draw for the UFC? Is he still very popular after the whole kind of tweet he's kind of had in the last couple of years? Where's Jorge, especially after such a big loss too, after Usman? He kind of, went into the, he went back, but then he started tweeting a little more. What do you think? Where is he with the popularity, you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's still there. That's why he's getting the fight. As Heidi mentioned, there's been a problem kind of booking some guys, and there's some guys that aren't really big draws in that division, and then you've got like Colby Covington will fight once every 2 years. He says he's healthy, I guess. So it's tough to book that fight as well. That fight was a pretty epic one with him and Usman, so I'd like to see that again at some point. But Covington has the same issues that Masvidal does in terms of problematic tweets and things like that. Jorge Masvidal, yeah, he went off the deep end. Like, for those that don't pay attention, he got very political with no basis for it. Like the things he was tweeting were not actual, he didn't have the same beliefs as the former president, but for some reason he supported him, and he went like full Q. That's troubling. Like, to me, that's not political anymore. That's dangerous. And he said some crazy things online and everything else, but you talked about the flying knee, so I'll actually quote Ben Askren, who is fighting and has a very bizarre bout himself. But he was saying, listen, this is a different sport, and it's an obvious statement, but you also have to put it in perspective. He said this is a different type of sport. He's like, I was watching a baseball player, and I was like, this guy has no social media presence, but it doesn't matter, because if he hits 40 home runs, he's going to get paid whether he tweets and makes a big deal about it or not. Our sport, that's not the case. You could be terrible. You could lose every fight, but as long as you have a good social media presence, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's kind of what's going on. Like, Jorge Masvidal has a following. People want to see him. He didn't perform well in that last fight, and he gets the fight. And here's the other part. Kamaru Usman wants this fight, and he's the champion, and sometimes you're allowed to make that call. He is saying, hey, I crushed this dude, and he's still talking about short notice and traveling around the world and all this other stuff. Let me beat him with a full camp. Let me make a big paycheck with a guy that can't beat me.
Guys, I kind of want to shift over. There's a lot of hype going on right now about Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3, the trilogy. That fight is going to be in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Heidi, what does this mean for Las Vegas to have fans again at events? And how excited should fans be for this fight?
Well, I think just for the first part with the fans back, it's going to be huge. Obviously, for Conor McGregor, this is the fight that the UFC has wanted. It's the one that they know can be a guaranteed sellout. And, there's not just the Conor McGregor name attached to it and the trilogy aspect tied to it, but for this city, it's kind of a sign of the revitalization of it and the fight capital coming back. So this has always been Fight Capital USA. That's part of the reason why I moved here. It was part of to cover boxing, to cover UFC, to cover one championship. I'll just throw that out there because it's another promotion, Gilbert, like we talked about earlier. But yeah, it's that's part of what makes this city electric, and to see it come back is going to be interesting. For one, to see how they plan the event and how it might set the tone for other events that are coming back, but also just because of looking at restrictions and how will they do the spacing. Does the sellout mean that it's going to be 13,000 or does it mean it's going to be 25,000? So that's something that we'll have to look and see what that all shakes out to, I think. But as far as the fight itself, I'm just looking forward to it because I think if Poirier can really pull this off again in the rubber match, it's going to be just huge for his name, for his brand. And the whole charity aspect thing that went into it was kind of nuts too. But with Conor's end, it'll prove that he's not washed up, because you're starting to see that go around. Like, is the peak of Conor McGregor over because he hasn't been able to win in the big keynote fights? But he's still going to be a draw. People will follow him to the moon and back. So for Conor, I don't think there's as much on the line as there is with Poirier and where he stands in the UFC and his aspirations for getting a title belt at some point.
Adam, Heidi mentioned it. I mean, that people think Conor McGregor's washed up. He hasn't been the same since he went to fight Floyd Mayweather. Do you believe that he's going to be better in this third fight? Do you feel like we're going to get a different... He keeps on tweeting about it. He puts it on Instagram. Do you feel like, Adam, we're going to get a different Conor McGregor?
We might. I mean, he showed in the past, like when he does rededicate himself and he refocuses, like he can really, get back in there and improve and show a great improvement between, fight to the next. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Dustin Poirier is really, really good. And Conor, as you mentioned, hasn't been the same. And after that fight, that Floyd Mayweather fight, I remember, Dana White making comments about, how hard it is to go to the gym and you don't have to. Like, when you've got $75 million in the bank, are you going to wake up and do that second training session at 4:30 in the morning and then, take a quick nap and then train again? Like, I don't think I would. In fact, I'm going to tell you this. I wouldn't. It wouldn't happen. If I had $75 million in the bank, I'm not doing anything. And
we find you at a Starbucks.
Actually, you probably wouldn't, because I wouldn't even get out of bed to go to Starbucks. So, like, that wouldn't even happen. So yeah, it does become tougher to train when you don't need to and we don't have to do it. And, when you're set for life and everything else. And I think we've seen that out of Conor. He still is, really good with his striking. His timing is impeccable with that left hand, but he's just not the same going to the gym day in and day out. The real quick, I did want to point out on that fight, that is the weekend. If you want to talk about the Vegas being back, and I don't know that we're ready for it. I'm still kind of hesitant on everybody getting out and getting about all the time. But, that weekend will be Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier at T-Mobile Arena, right across the street at Allegiant Stadium, like less than a half mile away. Garth Brooks has a sold-out show. Now, that's not my thing, but I know people are excited about it here. That is insane that those two events are going to be going on at the exact same time.
Fireworks in Las Vegas again. So, Heidi and Adam, which match are you guys looking forward to this Saturday besides the main event? Heidi, I'll start with you.
Oh man, hold on. I apologize, but I had it in mind, and I know it's kind of down here on the bottom, so I had to go back and look. Oh, you know what? I'm just scrolling. I'm sorry. Oh man, there's so many. Okay, I have to pick one. All right. I'll just go, and it's the obvious one. And Adam's probably going to be like, "That was what I was going to say," but it's Wiley Zhang and Rose Namajunas, because it's the co-main. And there's been some interesting things happening with Rose this week. Like, I don't know really where all of it's coming from, so I want to see what happens when they actually fight and the words are put to the test against Wiley. Because when people come at Wiley with some crazy talk, she's kind of backed up, everything. She doesn't even need to talk. She just, like with Joanna, said one simple word, and it was shut up. And The whole fight was crazy. So Rose has been saying like that she's got this thing against, China and all of its policies and the things that it's standing for and how it affected her family. And I just, I don't know what all of that's about. I'd love some more context. She said she watched a documentary and that if we all watched the documentary that we would be able to understand where she's coming from. I'd love to know what documentary it was so I could go watch it and see where her animosity for China is coming from. But yeah, that's something that's been underlying story theme throughout this lead up, and I want to see how it pans out in the cage because Whaley doesn't like when people talk about her, and I think she knows more than she lets on with English and looking and researching everything. So yeah, I think that's going to be a fun one for sure.
Of course, Heidi's right that would be my fight too. I think it's going to be incredible. I mean, anytime Rose fights, it's awesome. But yeah, to add a little more to that, I mean, we talked about Jorge Masvidal and getting political. Rose has been saying she used the phrase, which I thought was like dead in the 50s, but she busted out the better dead than red in regards to the Communist Party of China with Weili Zhang, which is fascinating that she is pinning, the entire nation and its policies to Weili, saying that she's a tool of the government, that she was put out there by the government as propaganda, and basically like she's fighting communism with this fight, which is insane. First of all, it's insane to put that on your shoulders when you're trying to win a title fight, but it does add a lot of drama to this. And I don't know that a lot of people have been paying attention to that aspect of this fight, but it is going to be globally massive when they step in the cage, just because of those undertones, for sure. But also, Heidi knows this about me, that I've been obsessed with Jessica Andrade since she decided to drop from bantamweight a couple of years ago, and I've just been obsessed with the fact that she is so strong and so just an immovable force in the cage. Now she's up against Shevchenko, who has just been a phenomenal champion, who's really not even had many close calls in her fights, except for with everybody except Nunez. So I'm excited about that fight as well. I think the two women's title fights are going to be unbelievable. I think the main event in terms of Usman will probably just run over Masvidal, but the women's fight should be really, really good.
Adam and Heidi, the whole China versus USA thing makes me laugh. You only see that in combat sports, boxing and MMA. they love these kind of
Rocky versus Ivan Drago.
It's like borderline. It's like borderline racist, but people kind of like it. But it's just weird trash talk, and it's weird that only in combat sports you could get away with stuff like that. I've never heard of that. Whatever Rose was trying to go, she was kind of reaching there a little too far to sell the fight. Do what you got to do, whatever. But like Adam said it's going to sell in China because of that whole aspect. But that's weird. But anyways, I like to make money, Adam and Heidi. As you guys know, I'm making this podcast to get rich. So hopefully you guys are going to make me rich. But every time there's a big UFC card, I go to the Las Vegas Review Journal, go to the UFC MMA section, and go for the best bets of Adam Hill and Heidi Fang. And I got to say, you guys are making me some money. So when I go to your best bets, I'm always looking there to get rich. But I ask you the question now on my podcast, Compas on the Beat. Thank you for jumping on. Shout out to myself on my new show. But Adam and Heidi,
you guys hear that? Me, I.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But yeah, I guess maybe having this show got me a little, big-headed. But whatever, I'm different. I'm in LA now. You guys are in Las Vegas. But Adam and Heidi, what am I betting on Saturday for UFC 261? It could be maybe an underdog that people are sleeping on, or an over/under kind of total fight. What do you guys got for me?
Adam, who's the dog in the Oliveira Brown fight? Because I think that one could be somebody that could pull up some numbers there. I'm thinking it's Brown.
Randy Brown is actually minus 150. So you got a plus 135 on Oliveira.
Yeah, take that, Gilbert. Take Oliveira.
All right, put all my money on there, especially if I don't get these Bad Bunny tickets and I have a lot of money to spend. I'm going to throw it on that guy.
Wait, is the Bad Bunny coming to T-Mobile like next April?
Is it? I thought it was March 5th. I already know. It's MGM Grand. Okay. Sorry, I pretend like I don't know Adam, but I know. I already saw the schedule. It's
all right. There you go.
March 5th.
I saw it like a year away. So whatever that was.
You should have seen how hyped he got for Bad Bunny being at WrestleMania and the way he performed it. And he honestly, Bad Bunny did better than a lot of celebrities have ever done. But he was so hyped for that. Gilbert, tell him what you have coming in the mail.
Oh, I got a Bad Bunny wrestling T-shirt. So
oh my god,
I got a little crazy. So
I gotta go.
we're gonna end the segment anyway. So thank you, Adam.
On that note, Heidi, Adam, we totally appreciate you guys coming on Compas on the Beat. Honestly, you guys are welcome here anytime. I know Gilbert and his show are excited to have you guys. I mean, that's what I've been hearing. So thank you guys so much. Let fans know where they can find you guys on social media. Heidi, where can fans find you?
I'm on the gram and on Twitter at Heidi Fang.
Heidi, wait, can I, instead of shouting out my own, Heidi is now on TikTok. So I'll say to follow Heidi on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't even know how to make a TikTok. I'm supposed to get a tutoring lesson from one of the young cool kids later.
She doesn't know what she's doing, but she is on TikTok, so follow her. And I'm on all the socials, Adam Hill LVRJ.
Appreciate you guys so much.